Hello you fantastic people and welcome back to Borderlands 3 to a very exciting video. We've got my Mayhem 10 level 57 flak gamma burst build and it is a lot of fun to use. I absolutely love this build. It's the best one I have for survivability so far at least, and does a lot of damage for mobbing as well as bossing, which is great. It's really great for the cartels. It'll be great for the melee one takedown once they fix that up again. And just all around is a lot of fun to use. I'll show some clips on screen so you guys can see how much damage this thing does and how survivable it is through an M10 level 57 true Vault Hunter mode cartel run. Also, the best part is it doesn't require god roll items. I have some old weapons, I have some new weapons, and I'll obviously show you guys the best anointments you want to go for if you want to get the best of the best items, but you don't require it for this build to work, which is my favorite thing about it. I'll of course run through the gear that we have for this build, including shields, artifacts, class ones, all that stuff, as well as I'll go through the skill tree for you guys in full detail so you'll be able to know why I chose each individual thing, and if you guys want to change it up a little bit for your playstyle, that's totally fine. Of course, it doesn't have to be a Mayhem 10 build, by the way, if you guys are not quite up to Mayhem 10 with your gear, etc. This will work at least definitely Mayhem 6, because we have to get all of those Mayhem 6 to Mayhem 10 dedicated drops with ease. But of course, you'll be able to alter it if you're playing still below Mayhem 6, you'll still be able to alter it. Just use the weapons that aren't dedicated, which is still a fair bit of the gear in this build. Then of course, you'll be able to use that gear to run some more cartel runs and hopefully make it up to Mayhem 10. Also, if you guys were wondering, these are the 4 Mayhem modifiers we were using for Mayhem 10. I honestly kept just re-rolling until I found some that didn't completely destroy the build, because there's some that are really overpowered for particular builds and some that just obviously make it balanced, which is what I think these 4 work out to be. I really don't like the post-mortem. I don't like Flora's Lava or Elemental Puddles, whatever it's called, Pool Party. I don't like any of those, so if you guys are looking for recommendations, these are the ones I run for this build, and it works really, really well. It doesn't destroy it in any way. There's also one that makes enemies completely immune to radiation. Don't choose that. Okay, let's get into the weapons, the gear, the anointments, all the fun stuff. Starting with the new SMG that drops from Captain Traunt. Would recommend this one highly. I believe it can come with ×2, so if you can get that, that'll help you out even more. If you're looking for a radiation one, if you can get Gamma Burst on it, that would be amazing, or 200% ASA is a great anointment to have as well. Moving down, the new Monarch Assault Rifle is probably one of my new favorite weapons in the game, like full stop. It's basically a better version of the Dictator. It's really, really good. Drops from Kilovolt. It does come with ×4 as a base, and like the Dictator, you can drop with double that. It's super rare though. You can get a ×8, which is really, really good. Haven't managed to get one with Gamma Burst yet, but we got one on ×4 and it absolutely shreds, so would recommend this weapon a lot. If you can't get Gamma Burst, 200% ASA is going to help you out a lot as well. Up next, we have the Lub. This thing is still shreds. It's really amazing. For some reason, there's a huge variance in damage on Mayhem 10. You can get anywhere between 22k and 31k is the highest I've heard someone report on my stream. If you guys have had more, please let me know in the comment section. But yeah, there's a huge variance for some reason. I've managed to get a 22k and a 25k so far. This one's got Gamma Burst on it and it does shred. But of course, if you get a 31k one, it's going to be absolutely disgustingly strong, so would recommend getting a Lub again if you guys haven't at M10 yet. It's really, really good still. The Sandhawk, of course, I was extremely lucky to somehow get a Radiation one and a Gamma Burst one as well. All the weapons we currently have on have Gamma Burst, but again, you don't need the crazy anointments for them to do the work. This one, super, super lucky, of course. It's one of the higher damage ones. It's 8k. Does go up to 10k ×9, which is the strongest you can get. This one, unfortunately, is semi-auto. Unfortunately for myself, because I like the full auto ones, but the semi-auto ones means it's a really short spread in the weapon. For example, I'll show you guys in-game. Semi-auto bullet spread is so small, it makes it really easy to hit headshots, particularly when you have like the big head modifier thing on for Mayhem 10. It's really good. The Burst Fire, not semi-auto, Burst Fire has a bigger bullet spread, as you can see, and full auto is even bigger than that. So semi-auto does really work quite well if you're going for the headshots and the critical hits. Would recommend that if you can get it. As for secondary gear or stuff I have in my backpack, would still recommend the Hell Shock. That thing still shreds if you can Gamma Burst on it as well. Perfect. We've got some hyper focuses, some non-elementals, and a corrosive elemental with 200% ASA or some Gamma Burst if you can get it. Same with Cutsman's. If you can get any good annoyance on it, that'll work really well. Going to be trying out the new 150% radiation damage on this one because I haven't managed to get a good Gamma Burst annoyance on it yet. The Reflux new shotgun is really, really amazing. It's essentially a corrosive brainstormer. It's going to be really good once I go back to doing the takedowns, once they fix that up. It is an amazing weapon. Would recommend. You can get a redundant version, so 14 pellets. That works really, really well. And just generally does a lot of damage. Even just a single enemy you're taking out does crazy amounts. And then if you have a pack, it's just chaining elemental damage to everyone. Shreds things like the war dogs in the cartel. The yellow cake, of course, I'm sure you guys have heard about the new yellow cake. That one is absolutely amazing, does crazy amounts of damage. If you can get some good annoyance on that as well, you can practically one-shot a lot of enemies. As for shield, we're sticking with the transformer just because I've used it for most of my builds. I love the shield. There are plenty of other great options though, like the stopgap's a great one, the Rico shield. I'm sure there's some new shields in the new DLC or the cartel. Just haven't tried those ones out yet. If you guys have any other recommendations, please let me know down below. Also, the red suit shield's really great if you want immunity to radiation. You can shoot the lob at your feet and not actually down yourself, which is great. If you guys want the red suit shield to go to Atomic and Silvestro in Tanzania Ruins Necro de Feo, it's dedicated to those guys only, unfortunately, or you can get it as a quest reward if you're doing the playthrough again. That's a great shield. I honestly just switched over to Transformer because it has a much bigger capacity than the red suit. As for grenade, still using a transfusion for that health bonus. As for annoyance as well, we're still using the fire and radiation bonuses on ASC. If we ever run out of gamma burst, the idea is to stay in as long as possible, but if we do run out, we need that extra damage to amp up because we're losing a lot of our bonuses of not being in gamma burst. As for artifact, would highly recommend the Pearl of Ineffable Knowledge. If you guys haven't heard about it, it's probably the best artifact in the game, if I'm going to be honest. Depends on what weapon you're using. If you're using the lob, I wouldn't recommend it. I'd much rather use a Snowdrift Auto Idle with some shotgun damage, magazine size, action skill, cooldown rate, any of those great modifiers for damage as your passives if you can get it on there. Snowdrift is also just great for getting around, and survivability with flak. Being fast and dodging those shots is really good. Plus you get 19% of your max health back after killing enemies, really, really good. But if you guys are using anything like the Monarch or the Sandhawk, it stacks up the Pearl super, super quick. Would highly recommend using the Pearl if you guys have got DLC too. As for class mod, there is absolutely no question when it comes to Gamma Burst builds that you use a Red Fang class mod. It is by far the best. While Gamma Burst is active, Flak's pet taunts all enemies, which is awesome. It means no one's attacking you, they're attacking your pet, which means you're getting increased bonuses like damage, all that stuff, which I'll explain in the skill trees. But it's amazing. If you guys can get one of these with any great passives on it, like weapon damage, weapon crit damage, any particular weapon brand that you're using, like we're using a lot of Dahl weapons right now. These two are Dahl. If you can get a Vladov one, a Torg one, anything like that at the bottom there, it's going to help you out a lot. If you guys are going for the best one, I try and get 1 point in the pufferfish, 4 points in the green one. That's the best roll you can possibly get, but honestly it doesn't matter too much. The bonuses aren't that crazy. But yeah, that's all the gear that we have for this build. If you guys are missing any of this stuff or you're struggling to get any of it, and if you guys didn't already know, the Loot the Universe event is currently on, so there's crazy amounts of world drops for class mods, for artifacts, for grenades, shields, all that stuff currently going on in the game. I made a video on it, and you guys are more than welcome to check it out. It'll be linked in the description or via the end card title screen thing, or just on the channel, you can check it out. It's really, really easy to get God Roll class mods now for the next couple weeks if you guys want to get on that now. But yeah, let's get into the skill tree, starting with the red tree. This is primarily a mobbing build, so we start with Interplanetary Stalker, put 5 points into this. It's a kill skill for crazy amounts of extra damage, pet damage, and extra bonuses against particular enemies. Would highly recommend that. Going down, put 5 points into Hunter's Eye for those extra bonuses there against particular enemies as well. Two Fang is absolutely amazing depending on what weapon you're using. If you get an extra projectile out of the lob, it's going to be doing crazy amounts of damage. If you get an extra projectile out of a Sandhawk or a Monarch ×8, it's not the biggest difference, but it's still doing that extra damage. If you guys don't want to put it in Two Fang, if you're not using a lob, I'd recommend maybe some action skill cooldown rate for hitting critical hits. That's always great. You don't want to be out of Gamma Burst at all with this build. You want to try and get it back as quickly as possible, or maybe some reload speed, something like that. Moving down, definitely put 3 points into Big Game. This one is amazing. It's a must-have for the red tree skill tree. Definitely put 3 points into Most Dangerous Game as well. It's probably the best kill skill that Flak has. It's crazy amounts of extra gun damage, critical hit damage, handling, which is important a lot in Mayhem 10 because handling accuracy is garbage if you have that Mayhem modifier on. Pet damage is amped as well, and it's for a crazy long amount of time, 120 seconds if you kill a boss enemy, which you're doing a lot in Mayhem 10 because pretty much every other enemy is a boss enemy. So would recommend that. It stays on at least for every cartel or a melee one takedown run. Stays the entirety of it because you're definitely killing one of them every 1 minute and 20 seconds. So you're getting those bonuses all the time. Moving down, definitely put a point into Galactic Shadow. It's the cheapest critical damage you can get out of Flak's skill tree. 1 point, 15% extra crit hit damage. It's amazing. Would recommend. Put 3 points into Grim Harvest for sure. 3 points gets you 12 gun damage, 40% action skill damage, and 28% pet damage. Pet damage is important for this build because you want to keep your pet alive, and if they're doing damage, then it's helping you out a lot as well. Megavore is also really amazing, probably one of the best capstones. No, it's the best capstone in Flak's skill trees. Would recommend there's a 20% chance to hit a critical hit whenever you hit an enemy anywhere in its body, which is great for a whole bunch of reasons across Flak's skill trees. For example, getting action skill back or just doing more damage because you're hitting critical hits. Now into the all-important blue tree, starting with, of course, Gamma Burst is our action skill. Moving down, put 3 points into Persistent Hunter. This gets you increased gun damage and action skill duration by 45%, which is really important for Gamma Burst because whenever that's active, we're getting crazy amounts of bonuses. We're doing way more damage. And if you have the Gamma Burst anointments, you're doing way more damage from those as well. Plus, gun damage already 12% is very helpful. These two on the side here are just pretty much useless perks, honestly. You put a point in either of these or 2 points in one of them if you want. We have an extra 2 from our class mod into this one. It doesn't matter too much. Put a point into He Bites if you didn't have one from your class mod. We pair this with Frenzy, and it does crazy amounts of damage. Essentially, whenever Flak's pet deals damage, you get a stack of Frenzy. Frenzy increases damage, and the stacks decay after a few seconds. At 5 points, you get 4% per stack. 10 stacks total is 40%. You stack this up practically instantly, particularly while you're using He Bites, because whenever your pet takes any kinds of damage, which, like I said earlier with the class mod, whenever you're in Gamma Burst, all your pet is taunting all the enemies and it's taking all the damage, which essentially means he's taking all that damage so you can get an extra 40% gun damage, which is really, really good. Moving over to Who Rescued Who. You have no idea how many times I had to say that to get that right. Put 5 points into that. It's a great health skill tree ability. Whenever you're shooting an enemy, Flak's pet gets some health, and whenever your pet is doing damage, you get some health back, and it's a really, really good bonus. Would recommend putting as many points as you can into that. We skip these two, though they are great points. I skip them for this build because I think they can be spent better elsewhere. I put a point into Mutated Defenses for some increased health regen for the pet and damage reduction like crazy whenever the pet is at low health, because we want to keep them alive as long as possible. If they're down, it means all the enemies are suddenly shooting us. We've lost all of our frenzy stacks. We're losing a lot of damage bonuses, and we're probably going to go down real quick. So using that one is pretty much a must-have for this build to keep the pet alive at all times. Over to Barbaric Yelp, put 5 points into this. You get 200% increased pet bonuses across the whole build, which is amazing. Down to Shared Spirit, helps you stay alive like crazy as well. If you pair Shared Spirit with Mutated Defenses, you're essentially benefiting from that health regen and damage reduction like crazy. On top of the fact that it's just keeping your pet alive, you're staying alive from it, because whenever Flak is at low health, a portion of that damage is shared with the pet, and that portion is 50%, which is really, really clutch. It keeps you alive a lot longer. Moving over to Pack Tactics, put 3 points into this. Essentially get increased damage and maximum health by 21% and 15% respectively for both you and the pet, by the way, which is another great bonus. Now moving to the very small green tree, we have 4 points into Self-Repairing System. These ones, honestly, were an awkward 4 points that we had from going to 57. I honestly wasn't 100% sure where I wanted to put them, but I'm actually really happy with them in Self-Repairing System for that extra health and health regen, because I want to keep Flak alive as long as possible, which can be super difficult. But if you guys are absolutely crushing it, don't need more health, I would recommend putting it into Furious Attack, 4 points there. Maybe some extra into Grim Harvest, or maybe into some action skill cooldown in head count. Any of those would be great options if you guys don't need them all health. Should also mention we have 2 points into Eager to Impress from our class mod. You get that one even though it's not unlocked. You don't have to have a skill point unlocked to get the class mod skill points bonuses for the record in Borderlands 3, which is fantastic. Moving over to the augments, we definitely use Empathetic Rage for that 20% extra gun damage whenever Gamma Burst is active. That's really helpful. And then also Burst Aid is really, really good for keeping you alive. I always use the Rift to keep myself alive. I just sort of hang around in its area, get that health regen and doing the extra crazy damage. Essentially, whenever you use Gamma Burst Rift, you get 20% extra health per second when standing near it, which is clutch in so many different situations. As for pet, I only ever use the Great Horned Skag because it does 15% extra damage and 30% extra gun damage. Gives you that bonus, sorry, not the pet. You get that extra gun damage and just damage generally, which is fantastic. An extra 45% damage I shall take happily. You're getting that extra bonus because you're using Barbaric Yelp. Usually it's 5 and 10%, but that extra 200% bonus comes in clutch for that as well. But yeah, that's everything I have for my Mayhem 10 Gamma Burst Flak build at level 57. Hope you guys found this video helpful or enjoyable. If you did, don't forget to smash the subscribe button down below. I'd really, really appreciate it. We just smashed through 10K this morning while I was asleep, and that was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for all the support. You guys are a bunch of legends. If you guys want to help me out even more, you can like and share the video. It helps the channel grow even more onto the next 10K. That would be absolutely crazy. Speaking of crazy, if you guys want to come check us out over on Twitch, I live stream every single night just after I post my YouTube videos. It's always linked in the description down below, or just search CodyMQ on Twitch. My name is the same on all my social media. It's always just a fun place to hang out. If you like Borderlands 3, get up to some random shenanigans, do some cartel runs, play with viewers, and just have a great time. We're super close to partner, which is absolutely crazy as well. Thank you so much for all the people that come over already. If you guys want to come hang out, that would be awesome. And yeah, other than that, I hope you guys have a fantastic day. You guys are a bunch of legends, and I shall see you guys in the next video and or live stream. Till then, adios.